So we are rapidly cruising along on our 1975 stepside Chevy project. We got to do the bumpers, and I want to kind of salvage the original bumpers. I don't want to spend any money on new bumpers, but the original bumpers kind of gave this whole truck part of a kind of a character. They really contributed to the whole effect of the truck, which if you didn't see the original videos, you'll see when we get into the bumpers, you know, how that kind of was. So I would like to also salvage everything I can, the winch and everything, without spending a lot of money, because let's face it, my budget for this thing is completely blown and I've already way exceeded it. So I need to salvage everything I can, and it's a really good Ramsey winch and I'd like to save it. So without further ado, let's get into the bumpers and winch on this project. This bumper, well, I've been debating since this whole project started what to do with this thing, and I posted a short or something, I can't remember now, asking what I should do with this thing. And well, I think if I recall rightly, the majority of people said I should keep it, and I'm tending to agree for several reasons. One is I don't feel like buying another bumper, and this one bolts right on, but I think I'm going to make some changes to it. Number one, this trailer hitch needs to come off. I am probably going to POR 15 this whole thing black. POR 15 is a little expensive, but I think it's worth it for, you know, it won't rust again with that anyway, I know that. The winch doesn't work. I'm going to have to try to rebuild it or get another one, and I can't afford another one, so I'd like to rebuild it. And this is a Ramsey winch. It is genuine Ramsey. The problem is the clutch handle's broken here. It's like pot metal. Well, the handle's broken off, but I'm beginning to think maybe it was broken off on purpose because, you know, shoved down there. I don't know how the handle was originally shaped, you know, unless it was coming out like this, that it could fit in here. Maybe he broke it off and was thinking that you could just move it by hand. Well, anyway, that's jammed, I think, or I just aren't pulling hard enough. As far as the frame, the grill protector bar thing, that's really where my indecision lies. It's a bit much. The truck, as it's turning into what it is, we took off the side stacks and some other things and try to tone it down just a hair, you know, so it's not quite so obnoxious. No offense to the original builder, but, you know, obnoxious is not what I'm going for. Kind of, you know, just normal is what I'm going for. I'm thinking I might, and I'm not convinced on this yet, I might trim some of this stuff off. I might trim it kind of here to kind of let this section stick out, you know, and cut this off here, and maybe take this top section off, just leave this lower section. I'm thinking I might cut it here and here and here and here and here, just leave this section stick out, and this top bar, and the same over here, just leave this kind of U stick out the side. Maybe that'll be subdued enough for my purposes. Cut the rest off and grind the nubs down. So the first step is going to be to dismount this winch and its associated paraphernalia. Oh, there's steps on the bottom on each side. That one's a little bent, but you can see it here. Steps there. I'm going to leave them on, just because they're a little handy, you know, step up on the bumper. Can always cut them off later, but I'll probably leave them on for now. We can't get it done without getting it started, so let's get going. Well, this is what we're left with. I wasn't sure, but lifting this thing, it felt like this was all solid tubing and everything, and solid tubing, solid stock. And sure enough, I mean, each one of these pieces that I cut off probably weighed 8 or 9 pounds at least. I think it'll look okay. Another reason that I prefer this is because when you're stepping up, then you can step here and you actually have a section to stand at the corner. Before, you kind of had to wedge your feet under here and balance precariously, and you couldn't wedge your foot in here because there's a bar there. And this is really where it needed to go, not out here, you know. So here you can get a foot here and a foot here, and you can actually stand on the corner if you want to work in it because it's so high. I think this will work. What we need to do next, it's still got a good bit of weight to it. It's not perfect. There's a little bit of waviness in there. I'm gonna do my best to wire brush off as much of this loose junk as I can, and then we are gonna get out the POR 15. This is not just thin sheet metal here. This is pretty beefy metal, and this is, I'm hoping this is hollow. I feel like the weight of the thing, this is probably hollow. If this was solid, it would probably, I don't think I could move it. We can take off more if we want. I was debating whether to take off this top section here, just cut the top off and leave the lower section, and well, we can always do that later. So it is on to wire brushing. Lots and lots and lots of brushing. Again, it's POR 15, so I'm just gonna get all the loose stuff off, and then we're just gonna slather it on there basically. Well, there it is in all of its, well, imperfect glory. This is more work of art than anything else, I think, at this point, with its, you know, kind of put together from various pieces of metal, and even this blade on top isn't whole. It looks like he had a couple strips of diamond plate and welded them together into one. I'm not sure why this vertical strip is there other than just decoration. I don't know, there must be a reason. I just don't know what it is, but I'm not sure. I still can't decide if I want to cut the top off here or not. Fortunately, we can decide that even when it's on the truck, because I can just drape a tarp over the front of the truck behind that and zip away and then grind it and paint it. I mean, it's black. Very little on it is like straight. It's been used and used hard. You can see like this bar is bent from who knows what, hitting something or the winch years ago. But he did build a strong bumper, so yeah, I mean, you know, it kind of fits. It kind of fits the idea of this truck, which is, you know, a period build that's been refurbished, which is what I was going for, even though underneath it's been refurbished a lot more than I ever intended. All right, we can put this thing on without the winch. Whew, that is heavy. You ready? Oh yeah, I think that'll work. The other one was, well, it was pretty obtrusive. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, yeah, that'll work. That'll work well. Steps there, I like it. Oh, it's much better black and not rusty. It's already getting dusty. Well, I mean, it'll be dustier than this in the future because I don't have a garage, and well, yeah. Okay, I'm starting to think the front end looks pretty well. Well, actually, all we need is the winch, and then I think pretty much the front end. We got to get some mirrors on it, but like from the windshield forward. Let's see if we can fix the winch. I sure hope so, because it's a period correct winch and it's a Ramsey, which is a very good name brand, especially back, you know, 90s. So let's look at the winch and see if we can save it and just finish this right off and make it look nice. So the winch fair lead, I'm not going to try to clean this up. I could, you know, PR15 it and make it look, you know, a little better and everything, but the problem is I don't want PR15 getting in the fair lead rollers and creating problems for the winch cable, you know, binding up on those rollers and wearing the rollers and the cable and all that. So I'm just going to leave it like that. I could buy a new winch fair lead, but they are horrifically expensive. This one is solid and it works as it is, and I'm not going to mess with it. If it works, don't break it. As far as the look of the thing, well, I don't really care because it looks used, and well, I don't care if it looks used because it's going to be used. So works for me. We're going to go with that. The winch. I do know a tiny bit about this, and that is that the gentleman who delivered it to me so very kindly, as part of the deal of me buying it and getting it out of his mud pit, he tried to winch it up on his trailer with this winch, and it did not work. I don't have any more details than just the fact that it did not work. I don't know if that means that it didn't spin at all or make any noises. I'm not sure. Right now is set to in, just to verify that is in and out. Newer winches obviously do that on the controller, but this one, you change the clutch. I guess free spool's in the middle. I'm not sure. I just want to see if the motor runs. We have these old ancient wires. I've done my best to split them there. I'm not sure what's going on inside that box, but I'm sure we'll end up doing something with that because that box is scary. I just have it hooked to these jumper cables, which aren't enough really to run a winch. I just want to hear if the motor will do anything or solenoids click. I don't know. Could light this thing on fire, not sure. Let's just see what happens. Or I get shocked, I don't know. Nothing. No smoke, no flames. Disengage clutch, move clutch tab to out. Oh, so this is like motor engaged. Out is motor disengaged. I have a feeling whatever's inside that box is long gone. Or there's a more chance that this is corroded than the motor. I guess we could try to hot wire the motor. I don't know. Let's see. See what happens if we just try to touch it. Nothing. Whoa, we got sparks. Oh, I hear the motor trying to turn. Okay, I did hear something try to happen. This might mean that we can salvage this. I don't think there's enough power in these tiny little extension cords to really run that motor, with it being probably sitting as long as it has. But let's start at the winch then and see if we can get the motor to run fully, and then worry about any controllers, because if we have to get a control box, that's a lot cheaper than this. And yes, I know a Harbor Freight winch is a couple $100, but this seems like a heavy duty one. What load is this rated for? Max double line using Ramsey winch snacks box, single pull, 8,000 pounds, max single pull on one layer. That's a decently sized winch. However, this is a heavy truck. I mean, it should be enough to pull the truck. I would really like a 12,000, but if he was using it, it's good enough for me. All right, let's see what we can find with this motor here, I guess. So I just want to note, oh, the gear train, when I turn this manually, it does infinitesimally move the reel. So I know all the gear train and everything is good. You can see the magnets are huge. This motor is built very well. The contacts are pie-shaped and very large for good heat absorption. The brushes are also pie-shaped and very large, good at heat absorption. Don't know quite how I'm going to get this back in together. I'm just going to have to hold it and kind of stick my screwdriver in like I'm carefully adjusting the proximity of a nuclear weapon. I mean, it's very good condition, but you can see how sturdy and well it's built. I mean, they did not spare any expense. These magnets are, you can't even stick a screwdriver down the center, the exact center of that, without it snapping to a magnet. I mean, it's a very beefy motor. All right, and the interior connections seem to be, I mean, they're a little corroded, but the wires themselves are really good. Okay, and I put a little bit of grease, obviously, on the other end of that rotor, and we'll put a little bit in the cap here as well. I'll use this red axle grease. Seems to work well. Okay, so put the cap back on and find the bolts I lost. Alright, I don't know if my camera caught that because it may have just deleted the file. I'm not sure. I put it back together after being cleaned up and it worked. Allow me to demonstrate. I'm going to do this one-handed. I'm sure that's perfectly safe and OSHA approved. I don't know if I'm going the right way, but here we go. Oh, there we go. I have trouble getting a good connection. Come on. These little jumper cables are probably not up to the task. There we go. Okay, obviously it'll work better with actual wires attached instead of just these jumper cables that aren't getting a very good connection. It works well too. That is a quick spool rate. So obviously we'll have to unspool all this cable at some point when we get it into some kind of workable condition, but till then, now we just need to be able to disengage this, and I have been working at it and I can't. I think I'm gonna have to take this gear cover off and see what lies beneath. These are tiny little screws. I'm sure that won't be a problem at all. All right, here goes nothing. So what happened here is this lower spring, this is a replacement spring that's close but not perfect. It's the closest thing I have. It's better than no spring. So the way this works is this puts tension to spin the gears back and forth here and lock or unlock the gear pack. And what happened here was this bottom spring completely rusted out and then kind of seized and corroded everything down here. You can see this is mostly what's left of that spring. There's a little bit in there, but it just completely turned to rust and junk. So got some water in there, and that's what happens when it sits for 30 years. It just completely locks everything up. So I think I'm gonna re-grease this, but I think this will work once I have it clean here. See, this turns and this rides up to push this further or closer away, to push it in or disengage it. So I'm gonna grease this up, put this back together, and re-grease these gear packs and planetary sets and put it back together, and I think it will, hope it will work. Let's give it a shot. All right, I think I got it repaired. This loosens now, so I should be able to free spool it. I don't know if I can hold the winch strong enough to. Well, there. Okay, I can free spool it. So if I engage it, I should not be able to do that. Yep, and it locks. I'm gonna have to jiggle it to get it unlocked. One thing I have to do is come up with some kind of handle here, maybe something like this, because the bumper's right here, so we're gonna have very little to move it. But problem is this collar is plastic. It's like the one plastic part on this whole winch, and that's why the handle broke off. But okay, engages and disengages. All right, winch will work. Don't know about the control box, we'll have to look at that. But this thing will do the job. Okay, the winch controller. Obviously we're gonna have to replace some of these lines. This must have been disconnected and stored inside in the truck out of the weather or something, because it's not like UV light deteriorated like some of these are. I might be able to reuse that if we clean it up a little bit, maybe change that plug. I don't know, I'll have to I can test it out with a meter and see if it's any good, because if this isn't any good, I don't know if you can still get winch controllers in this kind of configuration or not. By the way, I did a review on this Weaver meter a while back, and it is still plugging along. I use it like every day. We'll just do continuity test, I guess. I don't know which one is the common. It looks like there's 3 wires and it just switches back and forth probably. Okay, so these two are connected. What about in the other direction? Now, I have to take the controller. I might have to take this hand unit apart as well. Let's see what we have. It's not complicated, it's just a... I do like it in its simplicity. One of the reasons I want to preserve this, if I can, is it's so simple and repairable and cool, and just the fact that it survived 32 years just sitting there says something about the quality of it. So I'm on board with saving it if it can be saved. And I don't see why not, because if the case is intact, everything else is just universal parts you can get pretty much anywhere. Yeah. Yep, it's just a standard switch in a box. Okay. That means we've got corrosion or a problem on the other end. That's fine. Together. Now, I'm just looking at this end. How do I get this apart? I don't even know. There we go. Okay. Goodness. Okay, well we had a broken wire anyway, so I have to fix that. That's fine. Can't really tell which one it was in, but if we have it doesn't matter if we have access to these pins over here either. Oh, that's pretty simple, isn't it? Wow. That's real simple. Unfortunately, I don't carry these exact solenoids. I can't believe this rubber's still supple and all that. Okay. Stuff it in the hole. Okay. Good enough. Come on. Years of crud. So, I think, there's the notch. Okay, so this goes in like this. Screw up. Okay. Let's see when this is. Okay, this is the black is the common here. Let's just unplug this. Ah, goodness. Okay, that mess out of the way. Not sure what we're gonna do with that yet. No connection. Oh, come on now. I have to take you apart too, Mr. Plug. Okay, so that one, this is black. Okay, now we need to find another one. That's one of them. Okay, it's the upper pin. So that is this one. Now, let's test what we have so far. Fantastic. Okay, so now up should be this one. Okay, we've got a control unit. We just need the solenoids. Alright. Talk about crusty and rusty. These connections are actually surprisingly good. It's just the battery connections in. Goodness, and that one's so close there. I can't believe there's not much creating it. Not much saving it from like arcing or something. I don't know. This is a mess. I'll have to buy a new one of these just because I don't feel safe right now using this. All these exposed wires and so rusty and old. That wire, I don't know if you can see it, but this wire down here, right down there, completely broken through. No, I think we're gonna have to completely take this apart. Definitely these wires have to come off. I'd be surprised if these coils survived. Problem is, a new controller is going to come with a new button and, well, more than a button, it's going to be cheap electronics, cheap modern electronics. I'm trying to avoid that. I guess he used these as standoffs up from the bumper so it went, oh, I don't know why he didn't mount it directly. Let water go underneath it maybe. See, now they're out here and you still you still can't get the, who designed this? Like, seriously. Okay, you can bend it. Not supposed to bend it because it's, yeah, it's only got so many bends left in it. Now we can take it all apart. All right. Well, I've managed to salvage all the pieces. I have to compare costs now. I have to look at the cost of 2 of these. These are very common solenoids, and rebuild this as it was and wires, or look at the cost of a existing just winch control box versus the cheapness of a new one possibly. So we're going to evaluate that next and see what solution we want here. These are dead, but I mean, we can rebuild it if we want to. So it was cheaper to buy a new winch controller, which also comes with this fancy wireless module with remotes. That's fine. I'm gonna find a way to hook up both in case remotes and your batteries go dead. I believe that is an option, perhaps, but I believe I should, this should fit in this box just fine, and I should be able to put this, I don't know, mount this in here somehow. Maybe I'll mount it to the plastic, I guess. Mount it like that, maybe. That way this will be on this side of the box, and this I can bias towards this side of the box. I think that'll all fit, and then the wires, there'll be plenty of room for wires to go out both sides of the box. Alright, here's testing. I got this controller hooked up. I'm going to connect the battery here. Make sure nothing burns down. Oh, I got no control. Okay, double check my wiring. It was a little weird, but I don't know. Let's try this iteration. Oh, I got that, and I got nothing. Alright, how about now? Ah, there we go. That works. Okay, I just got to revise my wiring there a little bit, and we'll be good to go. Okay, let's try the remotes, I guess. Alright, let's see if it works. Nothing. Did it come with, what's that? Please turn off the, okay, try the power switch. Oh, I hear it clicking. I did wire it according to the directions. I hear it clicking, but it's useless. That's alright. I got the good old solid controller, these Chinesium controllers. I'm gonna double check the wiring. I don't know. Well, I didn't buy it for the wireless thing anyway, so as often as I'll be using the winch, which is to say hardly ever, this will do the job. Rear bumper. So this thing, unfortunately the way he mounted it is sketchy at best. This slid over the frame horns. The frame horns butted up against this with the top of the frame horns here, and the end of the frame horn that wraps around hit against there, and of course it's narrower than this, so he stuck these on and just welded them. And I don't know that there was a whole lot else other than that holding the rear bumper on, other than just gravity, because it does sit on top of the, you know, the frame sticks in here and it does sit on top of there. Oh, he welded it here too, I guess. Yeah, he welded it to the frame. I don't want to do that. I would like to run a piece of steel across here and drill holes in it that way, so that I can use the holes on the frame horn. This is where he welded it here, so I'm guessing I would use the upper hole here. I'm not sure how to do that yet. I do know these need to come off, and I'm probably just gonna zip this right up here, because this is useless to me, because there's a long gap between the frame. But I think if I weld a plate in here, I just have to have the right plate. I don't know if I have anything that big. I have to check what I have. And of course, you have to be careful. I might settle for like 2 plates welded in here, because I still have to be able, I'm gonna have to replace this license plate light. I don't know where he had the license plate mounted. There, I guess sticking up a little bit maybe. But you do have to have a license plate light to be legal, and I would like to make this thing as road legal as possible. This thing is bent up a little bit, and I'm not going to worry too much about it, because the whole back of this truck is kind of going to end up being, well, less than ideal. I have not been able to find bed parts cheap enough, which means I'm gonna have to fix these. I'm gonna have to hammer that dent out. I'm gonna have to reuse what I can. As you can see, it's a little sketchy. I mean, it's not gonna look, I mean, this is under the rail. It's still kind of strong enough, I guess, for the most part. It's not great. I can POR-15 it to keep it from rusting further after I wire brush it down. And the thing is, I thought it was better before I took it off, so putting it back on, I think it'll look kinda like it was. I don't know. We've kind of got struts there. This one's a little better, even though it has this dent, but it is just a dent. And then, of course, the bed, I have no choice but to use this again, because I haven't found a bed, and this thing's gonna look a little raggedy. There's just no way around it. I'm gonna get off as much of this as I can, but anyway, that's gonna be the back, and raggedy. So raggedy. I mean, I could try to like hammer this back into shape, but I don't know that I'm just gonna worry too much about it. If somebody really wants a nice, you know, bumper down the road, I'm gonna make it easier to take off. It's solid. I won't weld it to the frame like the last guy did, is what I'm saying. I'll make it so you can unbolt it. So let's see what we want to do here for this solution. There's the rear bumper. Rained last night, a little wet. I did notice, but it didn't register with me before. It says Key Dodge Sales, Harvey, Louisiana. This truck is originally from Louisiana, and then it moved to Florida, where I got it. But it was originally built in Louisiana, and I don't know, it just adds something to the, even though it says Key Dodge Sales. Maybe they sold Chevy too, we don't know. But it just, you know, to keep original things like this from the original build just means something to me. I don't know, it just adds a level of preserving that initial build, kind of a coolness factor to me anyway. It doesn't work for everybody, but there's the rear bumper. Works pretty good, and it's not sitting directly on top of the frame anymore. I guess he had welded it there too when he put it on, but I do not like welding to the frame. Obviously it's not going to be, I wouldn't tow with it or anything, because it's, you know, it's just bolted onto the frame with humongous grade 8 bolts, but it'll be there, and you know, for accident use, you know, if it does get hit in an accident, it's that buffer for the frame if you get hit. Although if you get hit, something's gonna scoot under there. I don't know, this is pretty high. I think it's too high to be legal. I might have to add a trailer hitch just to have something down lower to make it legal. We're gonna leave that for the future right now. It might be nice to have a trailer hitch for this anyway, but if I do that, I have to work around the exhaust. That's fine, because I can modify that a little bit, but I'm thinking a K5 hitch, bolt-on hitch for this frame maybe, because it has to go around the tank too. Won't work for a C10 or a K10. That's for the future. Right now, this bumper is just fine. When we put our plate on, it's gonna stick up a little bit. I think his plate was too, and it'll just be a little annoying. You'll just have to be careful not to hit it or anything, but not much to be done about that. Got to get a reverse light when that comes. When we do the bed and all the lights, that's when I'm gonna hook up all the rear lights, and we'll just get a license plate light and just snicker right in there. I have the dimensions and everything, so I'm sure you can just order one, and then we'll be legal with that. But for now, for the bumpers, that's gonna wrap that up. So I just realized Mrs. Wrangler is gonna be really mad at me because she got me a bunch of new shirts to wear for these things, you know, when people actually look at me. So I'm not wearing my old ratty shirts, but you know, well, we're doing this now, so maybe next time. Anyway, that's it for the bumpers and winch on this thing. We are just rip snorting along here piece by piece, and we are really getting this thing done. So pretty soon in the near future is going to be the final reveal on this and the final walk around. We're going to do that, and you know, maybe do some driving in it. But anyway, if you want to see that, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, tell me everything you did wrong down below. That's fine. I do lots of stuff wrong, and as always, thanks for watching.